London's the dubstep kid over here.
Sidney Lumet died 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead was his final film. Thomas didn't like that one.
What? No. What?
Oh. Intriguing. Thomas hated all the movies we're going to be talking about today. I hope that's the case. I hope you're just like, I hated them. If you did, that'll be so
I just
funny.
thought that they were all very surface level observations of human nature and just kind of put through an expository lens that was super obvious and just kind of low-hanging fruit. Not really. I don't actually.
Where did you get that? Were you just pulling that out of your ass, or did you find... Okay. So, yeah, today we're talking about Sidney Lumet, who is most notably known for making, I guess, 12 Angry Men, but, like, Dog Day Afternoon is probably, like... Dog Day Afternoon and Serpico are also pretty well known.
Those are two. Like, I had no idea he had directed those two. And then I was like, oh, fuck.
That's what's really crazy about Sidney Lumet is, like, he's not on a lot of people's, like, favorites list and stuff, but then you look at the things he made and you're like, oh!
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no. Like, he's got an impressive body of work. And I was pleasantly surprised, like, he's got some kind of older film traits that have stuck with him over the years, but I was surprised at, like, how well he kind of adapted to, like, the different time periods.
Yeah. I guess we'll talk about it when we talk about each film, but were you able to watch anything else this week? Mm-hmm. One Piece.
I watched a couple One Piece movies. They were alright. I watched two of them. I watched the one that's directed by Mamoru
Hosoda?
The guy who does, like, The Boy and the Beast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mamoru Hosoda, I believe.
I don't think it was, like, a bad movie, but I think it was a little strange for a One Piece movie. It was super dark and kind of scary in tone, which normally isn't One Piece. And also, the whole, like, kind of ploy of the film is, like, setting the Straw Hats up against each other so they clash, and it's, like, easier to, like...
Kind of like a Batman versus Superman movie.
And I didn't buy it. Like...
You did not buy what he was selling.
I think some of the characters were just acting a little out of character in order to make this kind of
like
feud plot work. He was probably the most on character out of all of them. But even then, there are some points towards the end where normally... Because Luffy's normally the kind of guy who, like, punches first, thinks later, if at all. And there are some points where he definitely would have been throwing some punches where he was just kind of standing there. Yeah, there was just some like kind of like minor character contrivances to kind of get the plot going where it wanted to go. But aside from that, like, it was fine. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie or even a bad One Piece movie. It's just strange looking at it compared to the rest of the series.
Well, maybe I'll eventually watch it, but I've fucking hated everything I've seen of his. Except the Digimon movie. That he only co-directed. That was pretty okay.
And then the other one I watched was just kind of an extremely standard vanilla One Piece.
Just like a long episode kind of deal.
Like a long filler episode.
Oh, classic.
Yeah. So yeah, those two weren't bad. I fell down my stairs.
Yeah, you fell down. I saw that. I saw your review of The Little Things. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I was on my way to work and I slipped down my porch steps and I landed on my back. It was not fun.
Yeah.
So I called into work and I watched The Little Things, which is also not fun. That movie was not good.
Anyone good in it? Was Denzel any good, or was he just kind of showing up?
He was kind of just showing up at this point. There was a couple points where it's like, he kind of looks like he's trying a little bit, but I
heard some people like Jared Leto in it, but I think Jared Leto just him being himself, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's so creepy," and I'm just like, that's Jared Leto.
Yeah, he's a typecast, and
he's just a weird psychopath in real life.
Yeah, so and it's just like a super basic premise, and it go like. I was kind of like, oh, yeah, this is going to happen. Yeah, right on cue. Oh, this is going to be that. Yeah, it was. So it was just like that, and there were just some laughable lines of dialogue in there that were just like... I gave it a 4, because I'm like, this is almost just a competent standard movie, but it's a little less. So, yeah. Aside from that, Didn't watch anything else this week, I don't think. Just those 3 extra things on top of busting my ass last night trying to watch all 10 hours.
Read a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a lot of new stuff this week. I watched a new Scooby-Doo movie. I really liked it. If you go watch our review for Scooby-Doo and the Sword and Scoob right now.
It's his review.
Our review. Everything we do together. I watched this really sick-ass movie called Dr. Moreau's House of Pain.
Really? Yeah. I'm not familiar.
Not familiar? Okay.
No, I think...
Yeah, that was...
Would we have done... No,
that was after.
Yeah, it would have been right after.
I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that
movie sucked.
The movie hurt. I didn't like the pig.
That's the part I like. I liked how gross they were. We watched Exit.
We did. Yeah. I forgot to mention that. We watched Exit.
What'd you think of Exit?
I liked it overall. I felt like it probably, if it wanted to, it probably could have leaned into the political side a little more.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for what it was good. It was a good, fun time. I just kind of
liked how fun it was, you know?
Yeah, I will say it was also a little, there was a point...
You're about to say something really racist?
There was a point, after the first rooftop sequence, I was like, oh man, I'm full on the excitement. And then I was like, oh wait, there's still another 2/3 of the movie that's just this kind of stuff. Yeah. So I got a little, kind of maybe fatigued there in the middle, but once the wind kind of started blowing again, I got more into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But I think that was just also partially because I didn't expect it coming. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't expect more of that.
Yeah. I watched, and then I also watched Mamma Mia again.
There you go.
I love Mamma Mia.
We know.
It's like a really dumb movie, but I love Mamma Mia. Yeah, and I almost watched another Lumet movie today when I got home, but I just was tired, so I just kind of sat around. I literally think I just sat for 3 hours just on my phone. And I'm like, what did I just do? I really hate just doing that because I feel like I've accomplished nothing. But if I can at least finish a movie, I'll be like, yeah, I accomplished something.
I feel that.
And I tried to read, but I'm just like, oh, my eyes hurt.
Yeah, no. We were reading Worm this week, and I gotta say, the fucking black background, white text did not do wonders for my eyesight. I was just like...
What were you reading on?
I was reading on my laptop.
Oh. I was reading on mobile.
Oh.
And that's just white background, black text.
Oh, yeah, no. I had the invert of that.
Oh.
So I was just like... I'd be reading for 15 minutes and I'd look away from the screen for a second.
Oh!
And I just see a big block of white text that's undecipherable. I'm just like, oh great, wonderful.
Oh, I can't fucking see.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Somebody slept on that bed and they broke it.
Ooh.
So now it's just leaned up. It's fine. But...
Was this a couple or
yeah.
It was!
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Classic. Did I do anything else this week? No, I keep wanting to... I bought The Last Ronin 1 and 2. I just haven't read them. And I realized that they're released every 2 months. So I was like, oh, I should just wait 6 months for all 5 to be out. New episode of WandaVision. That was decent, I guess. I just am not vibing with the show very much. I think it's way too long-winded for what it is. I'm like, this is like, what, it's like 9, I think it's like 3.5 hours of content that I'm like, this could be like an hour and 45-minute movie and be fine.
Okay. I can't speak for it, because...
You'll watch it eventually.
One day.
We'll see. Jimmy Woo, though.
So I hear. I only know Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's the one he's in, right? Yeah.
He might be in both Ant-Man.
Okay. It's been a while since I watched the first one.
He's good. He's like the best part about Ant-Man and the Wasp. And the part with the ant drums.
The ant drumming was pretty sick.
That was pretty... We should start a band with that ant.
I mean, if it was a real ant and not a CGI mesh.
Wait. Are you saying they didn't make an ant big for the movie?
I think that might be a possibility.
Oh, jiggle boogle.
I know for a fact they had a big ant for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, though, but that movie was made in the 80s, and I'm pretty sure that ant died.
R.I.P. Rest in pepperoni.
That's how I want to rest. Alright.
Well, we don't got any questions today.
Should we go to Eugene?
No. But I am going to pause the video real quick just to make sure everything's okay because we had a lot of issues starting today. So I'm going to recheck it and then we'll jump straight into talking about the sexy man, Mr. Lumet. Or Lumet. Maybe his name is Sidney Lumet. Okay, be right back. Hopefully it's fine for the rest of the video. Alright, let's talk about Sidney Lumet. His directorial debut was 12 Angry Men. Like, it is a full-length feature. He did a couple, I think, like, telecasts, like, smaller movies. He did Trouble in a Crossroads Town or something. The movie that I saw, I watched it, and I'm like, I really wish they would remake this movie, because if it didn't look like garbage, it'd be good. Tragedy in a Temporary Town. Yeah, he did that the year before, and I think he did something else similar, but then, like, 12 Angry Men was just like, yep, I'm gonna go make the greatest fucking movie ever made. I'm like, it's really impressive that was, like, such an early work by him.
Yeah.
Afterward, he did fucking nothing worth talking about today. No, I think Failsafe was just a couple years later.
Failsafe, I think, was 64.
Yeah.
Came out the same year as a very similar movie. I don't know what the story behind the scenes is, but...
let's see. He did a couple other movies, like smaller ones. I know The Fugitive Kind is supposed to be pretty decent. That has Marlon Brando in it. But then it looks like he was still kind of obscure around that time. Failsafe came out. I don't know how it did at the time, but...
I heard it kind of paled in comparison.
Yeah, no.
But I heard it kind of picked up, like, steam in the following years.
2 years before, in 1962, he made a movie called Long Day's Journey into Night, and that has Katharine Hepburn in it. And I've heard that movie's, like, really good.
Okay.
And then Failsafe, and then the next year, The Hill came out, which is another big movie. I think that's the first one he did with Sean Connery, which he would do, like, 5 movies with. Then he did some smaller stuff again. I don't know if these were like made for TV stuff, but things that I've like never heard of. Like The Seagull. What the fuck is that? Oh. And The Appointment. But then he did, in 70, he co-directed a documentary about Martin Luther King Jr. It was like 3 hours long that I've heard is like really good. I've been thinking about watching it, but I'm just like, do I have the patience right now to watch a 3-hour documentary? No. But soon. Another movie with Sean Connery. He did a movie called Child's Play, and it's not the Child's Play you're thinking of. What? It's about a gym teacher.
What? I think. But he collaborated with one of the stars of Child's Play. Are you sure? No, clearly.
And then he did The Offense, which was one of his early works in the 70s that also had Connery again. And then he started getting on the big role, which came with Serpico, the next year Murder on the Orient Express, the next year Dog Day Afternoon, and then the next year Network. So in those 4 years. And that, like, solidified him. Because he's just like, yeah. He also made a movie in 74 along with Murder on the Orient Express called Lovin' Molly that I think is a Western that, like, is pretty bad, apparently. And nobody remembers. And then he did 2 other movies in the 70s. He was, like, just on a roll in the 70s. In general, he was trying to do, like, 1 movie a year, it seems.
Yeah.
But he did a movie called Aquise in 77. He did The Wiz in 78. And then
The Wiz as in is that the fucking Wizard of Oz one, or is that the...
That's the Wizard of Oz one.
Okay, I always get that
with Diana Ross and like Michael Jackson.
I always get that mixed up with the fucking... It's the movie of like Super Mario Brothers 3.
That might just be The Wizard.
Oh, okay.
But I feel it. Yeah. He should have done that movie, too. We should do a double feature, not of, like, The Wizard of Oz and The Wiz, but of The Wiz and The Wizard. But then, yeah, he just kind of continued on a pretty strong streak. Occasionally he would make a movie that wasn't, like, super popular or didn't do super well. But he was doing pretty hot until, I think it was, like... 86, he started kind of dying down. 88, though, he made a movie called Running on Empty. I don't know if you ever heard of this one. It had River Phoenix in it. But then after that, he had like a streak of movies that are not very good, apparently. But the last 2 are considered like a mini comeback for him. That was Find Me Guilty, which had Vin Diesel as the main character, and then Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, and then he died. And he was like, 86, yeah. He lived a pretty good life. So yeah. He had a pretty long career, though.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
He made 12 Angry Men when he was 33. So, and then he just didn't stop until he was 86. He made 50 movies, I think.
Oh, wow.
I'm hoping to watch them all eventually. But we'll see. We'll see if I do that. I tend to bite off more than I can chew up. But I definitely at least want to watch, like, Murder on the Orient Express, definitely. And The Wiz. And in general, Sidney Lumet is considered like a really nice guy. Like you can definitely see that.
I mean, he's got a lot of like, he's pretty progressive for a director. Yeah. So I was kind of leaning that direction, assumption.
Well, I was reading some stuff about him. He was Jewish, and he grew up in the Great Depression, and then he saw World War II, obviously. So it's like, all of this stuff makes sense why he would probably be one of the more progressive white people making movies. But he was a super personable director. Like, he didn't believe in, like, a director's vision in the sense that he thought that everyone making the movie should have a voice. Like, his office was, like, always open, and you could just talk to him if you had ideas for it, and he would, like, listen, and he would, like, try to help you to make it a better movie. Mm-hmm. So, I think, jumping ahead to Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, I have some issues with the movie, but I think, like, he made the transition to, like, digital movie making better than, like, someone like Argento.
I will say I think he is better than he made the jump better than a lot of other directors did, but there's
some rough parts, but I think that's just in general because the people he hired for, like, the cinematography and the editing, I was trying to look them up. I'm like, I can't find, like, anything else they did. Like, it just seemed like they weren't very good, but it seems like it's unfortunate because if he did hire somebody else, it would have worked much better because he would have just listened to them. He would have been like, yeah, right, let's do that. While Argento would be like, I got this. Give me the camera.
Yeah.
Love you, Argento. Except when you shot your daughter naked, that was a little weird.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, creepy!
Cast someone else in the role if you're going to do that.
I'm available.
Why would you cast your daughter when London is right here?
I am right here. I am right here.
But yeah.
And then... Yeah, and he was just like, pretty much everyone that worked with him, as far as I can tell, was just like, yeah, he's a cool dude. He's a nice guy. And I feel like you can get that from his movies. Like, you can't make movies like this and then be a dick in real life. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, maybe if he made one movie like this, I could believe he's being... But, like, his whole career was just like, that's what like, he wanted to make a lot of his movies about, like, anti-heroes or, like, just common day people struggling with, like, real life. And I'm like, can't be a dickhead if you're like that.
True.
Like, Kubrick, he made Doctor Strangelove. But then the rest of his movies, it's like, yeah, I can believe this guy's a dickhead in real life. Like, they're good movies, but, like, you can believe it. If somebody says he's a dickhead, I'm like, that makes sense. Quentin Tarantino, that guy's a psychopath. I don't trust that guy. Yeah. Zack Snyder? I don't know, but somebody take him away from the camera. I don't know, maybe Snyder Cut's gonna be good. Anyway, you wanna just jump in?
Sure. Failsafe. 1964. So, let's address the elephant in the room. Doctor Strange.
It's not his fault.
I assume, like, so are they both, like, just based off, like, a book?
They're both based off of different books?
Just very similar books.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a observe and report / Paul Blart situation, or that one movie that had, I'm forgetting his name, the famous pop star, and Ashton Kutcher. It's like that, like, rom-com. Justin Timberlake, he had, like, a movie that had, like, the same plot as, like, Ashton Kutcher, where they're both, like, friends with benefits. It's, like, circa 2008, 10, 13, I don't fucking know. You know, I'll look it up. Oh.
The Love Guru?
Just go with it? Oh, that's not
Justin Timberlake. I don't remember Justin Timberlake.
Maybe I'm getting it mixed up with something. Hold on, Ashton Kutcher. Friends.
No strings attached.
And then who's in that one?
That's him and Natalie Portman.
Okay. And then Okay, then there was one with Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake.
Which one was that? Friends with Benefits.
There we go. We solved it. Anyway.
So, Failsafe. Failsafe is based off a book named Failsafe that came out in 1962. Doctor Strangelove is based off a book called Red Alert that came out in 1958. The author of Failsafe was sued by the author of Red Alert, and they settled out of court because Failsafe is an extremely similar book to Red Alert.
Because just beyond it, because if I remember correctly, I haven't read the book, but I heard that the book that Doctor Strangelove was, unlike the movie, not funny.
It wasn't funny. It was like Doctor Strangelove is a movie that like, we're going to make this a black comedy. Like, what?
Yeah.
Failsafe very much just takes the not funny approach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's pretty funny.
New York's
hilarious.
That's a pretty funny move.
It's a pretty funny movie. No, but they're very similar premises. I don't think the execution is very similar.
No.
Like, there are similar scenes here and there, I guess, but that's just because of the way it's set up. I think, if I remember correctly, because of the lawsuit that was going on, one of the stipulations is that Doctor Strangelove would go out first, though. So that's probably why Failsafe didn't do as well. I will say, just right off the bat, I think I like Failsafe more.
I don't know if I came to the same conclusion.
That's fair. But I think that I like the approach of just a straight drama more in this regard, I guess. Because I don't know, Doctor Strangelove, I really like Doctor Strangelove, but at times I'm just like, I feel like they don't know what they're doing here. Like, this should be either funny or not as funny right now. And it's just like, some scenes just didn't work as well for me because they were trying to keep both their feet in separate courts kind of thing. Also, I fucking love Henry Fonda. I really want to watch more movies with him because he plays he plays the president in this, but he acts very similarly to the way he does in 12 Angry Men. To the point that there's a really famous line in 12 Angry Men where he pulls out the knife and he's like, talking about like, is it possible? I don't care if it's probable. I just want to know, is it possible? And he does the exact same line in this one. He's just like, oh, it's not very probable, sir. And he's like, I don't care about that. Is it possible? I'm just like, that's just the only thing he says.
This just might have been his entire personality right there in that one line.
But I'm just like, I need to watch more. And he's in a lot of Westerns, I'm pretty sure. Like, he's like the main character in Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh, okay.
With Sergio Leone! We talked about him.
We did. We talked about his...
like, a year ago.
Was that long?
It was 8 months ago.
Oh.
That's still long. Don't like that. I saw a picture of us, or I didn't see it. I took a picture of us. A screenshot of like our Infinity War review, and I'm like, we look like children. I'm like,
oh. Aged a lot in 2 years, 3 years.
3 years.
Fuck, it's been 3 years.
Yeah, it's a bit scary. It's a wee bit scary. But yeah, Failsafe. Here's the whole movie right here. The U.S. and the Soviet Union are in the middle of the Cold War. The U.S. has a failsafe in place that if planes enter a certain vicinity or any flying object enters a certain vicinity, they automatically send out these big bombers with megaton bombs on them straight to on a course to Moscow. And they try to call them back in this movie, but there's a technical failure and they can't get through to them. And they're trying their best the whole movie to stop them from going there. And they're trying to, like, help, and then Moscow explodes.
So, as
reparations,
the president orders a megaton bomb to be dropped on New York City.
Yeah, which, it's like... No?
I mean, I get it. Like,
I kind of get it. But no? I don't know if I agree with that plan of strategy.
I mean, I don't agree with it, but I guess it's like a reasonable enough thing to think about.
I guess. I mean, obviously, like, the situation is
pretty dire. But most of the movie we're following... most of it we're following the president. Once it hits, like, 35 minutes in, probably the rest of the movie is mostly following the president. But earlier on, we see, like, this philosopher guy who's evil. He's played by Walter
Matthau.
Walter Matthau.
Who is not evil in real life.
Yeah, but he does kind of have the face of, like...
He looks like Richard Nixon. Yeah. Like, just straight.
Did you ever play Nixon?
I don't think so. Maybe, though. It'd be a big missed opportunity if he didn't.
Do you think Nixon just secretly was in movies as Walter Matthau?
Yeah,
like,
it was
just I want to be in Dennis the Menace.
He was just like, you know what? I want to be in The Odd Couple. Put me in it. I want to star in Billy Wilder movies. I said Wilder. Anyway.
And then there's also a, like, colonel guy who's trying his best to stop everything and also stop the American troops from, like, cheering for the deaths of millions of Russians. And then there's his subordinate who's like a captain or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Obviously having some struggles at home and kind of loses it.
Yep.
Not even kind of, he loses it.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that lose it. And then there's General Black, who was like the president's best friend in college or something, who has his own stuff going on. He has a vision in the very beginning of the movie where he's like...
he sees like a matador, but he can't see his face. And the whole movie he's like, I need to see his face, but I'm worried I'm not going to see it until, my deathbed.
Yeah.
And then
he's the one that drops the bomb. And then he dies of a heart attack or something.
Yeah, like after he drops it. But then, like, we see in that scene the face of the matador. Guess what? It was him. Spoiler.
Spoiler for
that very obvious 60-year-old twist. But yeah, it's all right.
I really like this movie.
Obviously, it had, it was working from the ground up, being the product of a, I don't want to call it a plagiarized book.
Somewhat.
But a book that is very...
A heavily inspired book.
A book that clearly rips off another book.
Yeah.
And then you had a movie adaptation to fight against the same year, which would also just be more widely appealing because of the comedy aspect of that movie. Whereas this movie is lots of statistics, lots of talks of bomb, lots of philosophical arguments about the modern status of warfare. And
which, like, that's the kind of shit I eat up, though. So, like, I was just like, yes, I love this shit. I didn't agree with all of it, but I don't... obviously it doesn't expect you to agree on it because some of these characters are like horrendous individuals.
Yeah, it's a movie that's asking more questions than it's trying to give answers to.
Which I think is right. That's why I just like movies like that.
Yeah, so do I. Like it. And I think it works. I just... yeah.
There's some really I really like the shots of them just on the phone. Like, there's some really nice shots there, because the room's, like, pretty dark, and the shadows on their face just, like, are really nice, because usually they're really sweaty, because they're supposed to be really stressed, so they're just like, can you hear me, Mr. Premier?
Yeah.
And I think it's just my love of Henry Fonda. It's just, like, growing and growing, but, like, I love the scenes with him talking to the Grand Premier or whatever of Russia. And there's just something about this movie that really worked for me. I'm going to be saying this about all the movies, by the way.
Good to know. I will not, but...
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah. But yeah, so... I thought it was fine. Like, I liked it. I'd say it was above average.
Well, yeah. Duh. I'm just...
Yeah. I don't know, you want to hop into ratings?
Sure.
I think you would give this one an 8. A 9? Okay.
Yeah. I think you would give this maybe a 6.
There we go. Okay.
Because Thomas hates Russia.
No, nothing personal.
Nothing personal, kid.
Oh.
All right, let's talk about Serpico.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Serpico, then Dog Day.
Yep. And the organization. Not the organization, the network. The organization's a different movie.
Organization. The organization. So Serpico.
Yeah. This is a movie starring Al Pacino.
So
Dunkachino.
That's the only thing I'd seen Al Pacino before this week. Did you know his full first name is Alfredo?
I didn't know.
So Higateo won't stop just going, how's Alfredo? Al Pacino's really good.
Yeah.
All I'd seen him in was fucking Jack and Jill. So I'm just like, he's just like a meme guy, but he's really good in this. I watched Dog Day Afternoon first, and then Serpico, but in both, he's like really, really good.
Yeah, I was almost worried watching him, because I watched them in order, back to back. And I was a little worried that I was going to get it's like, oh, he's tight, because he's good, but he always acts within like a certain kind of type, but he's got a pretty broad, like that type can be used broadly. Yeah.
And I think that in general, Serpico, while like they might, on the most basic level, Serpico and his character in Dog Day Afternoon, I can't remember his name. Sonny might be like similar on the basic level. Yeah. I think if those are like the two ends of the spectrum he acts in, they're pretty decent.
I was going to say, because it's like, I was expecting to go in and have it be kind of redundant or feel like I was watching, like, getting same feel, but I was pleasantly surprised that, like, he was able to differentiate himself, like, very well within the roles, where I didn't feel like I was just watching the same character ripped from one movie over to the next.
And then he was in Jack and Jill. Oh, I guess he's in Ocean's 13. I've seen that movie.
He's in the Godfather movies.
Haven't seen those.
Scarface.
Haven't seen that.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Haven't seen The Irishman.
He's in that.
Haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Jimmy Coffa or whatever.
He's, I'm pretty sure he plays, like, Satan in The Devil's Advocate. With, Keanu Reeves. Or someone like Satan. I've heard that movie's pretty fun. Probably, it's 2.5 hours long, though.
But yeah, so this movie's...
He's in a Nolan movie?
Oh, yeah.
Insomnia with Robin Williams. I gotta watch that movie.
So yeah,
sorry, Alfredo.
This movie is basically like a cradle to casket movie. Not literally. We don't actually watch his entire life, but like we get a sense of him towards his start in like the police force.
Yeah. Well, it starts with him dying. Well,
yeah, we have that like flash forward scene that's meant to kind of hook you. He's like, oh, this cop that nobody likes got shot in the face. Who did it? Is he gonna live? What's going on? Then we cut back to his day as like leaving the academy. And basically, he wants to be a detective, but he's got to kind of get the experience and work up the chain. And he finds that like literally no matter where he goes,
at any point in time,
he's stuck with crooked cops.
Crooked cops are everywhere.
And he it's not even that he's actively trying to bust them. He just doesn't want to be crooked himself. He's like, I don't want money. Like I don't take money.
Yeah.
I don't take bribes. And they all perceive that as a threat. It's like, well, what the fuck? Why don't you take bribes? Everyone would just feel more comfortable if you took bribes. You're going after people. You're not going to go after any cops, right? Like shit like that.
And he says something like, later on, they're like, well, would you bust a cop? He's like, depends on what they do, what they did.
Yeah.
I'm Al Pacino.
And so the whole movie is him basically trying to expose police corruption through going through like up the chain of command of police and finding every time he tries something new, he's being blocked off. And by everyone.
Yeah. There's one guy that will like help him, which is like a more well-connected cop that like works.
Yeah, and he's like, I got connections for you. I can give you connections in every single one of those connections.
But he goes to like his captain, he goes to the commissioner, he goes to the mayor, and it's just like, it keeps on going.
Yeah. And it gets to the point where he's just like, they're trying to get him to stick his neck out and basically like speak at the hearing so they can convict a couple like lower totem pole cops that they can essentially just shift all the blame onto. And he's like, no, you guys are asking me to stick my neck out here and you're trying to pretend that it's, for what I want, when really it's the complete polar opposite. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, this movie is good. It's a good movie. I like it.
And then eventually he does say yes to it, and then he gets transferred into a fucking like narcotics division that's like everyone there immediately hates him. Mm-hmm. And then they try to get him killed pretty much. But he survives a gunshot wound, and then he gives a pretty cool speech, and then Serpico's still alive.
Oh, is he?
Like today, yeah. He's still kicking it. I think he's like 80 now, but...
I don't often say this about cops, but he seemed like a pretty cool guy.
Well, yeah, but literally, like, the only good cop is somebody that like, somebody that's like, I gotta get out of here, and he did. Like, after he immediately retired after, like, the events of this movie, pretty much.
Yeah, fair.
Fuck that. Like,
no.
And it's not like, it kind of breezed over, but he was a cop for 13 years. Like, that's how much time he was trying to, like, change the system for good.
Oh, wow. I didn't get that. In the movie, clearly.
Yeah, in the movie, I think they try to, like, condense it to, like, a 3-year period or something, like 4 years, but...
But yeah, no. Fuck.
Can I just say I really fucking love Al Pacino's outfits in this movie?
Yeah, he's rocking some style. I like his one little hat that he has, that's like... It almost looks like an explorer hat, but it's, like, a little too round.
Yeah.
I've never seen a hat like it. I don't know what it is, but I was like, oh, cool. But yeah, I don't really...
I will say, something that I thought was interesting is, like, just a couple weeks ago we were talking about Shaft and how, like, movies in the 70s don't look... I think this movie and Dog Day Afternoon and Network all look really nice, in my opinion. At least mostly.
Yeah.
Like, there are times here or there, but I think in general they really work. Like...
Yeah, I guess I should have, when we were talking about Shaft, I guess we probably should have, differentiated and talk about, like, the difference between movies that had some money put into them and versus like a lot of the kind of more independent stuff that was coming out at the time. Because I was referring to mostly like kind of more independent or
lower
just
budget.
cheaply made movies. Yeah.
Which, no, I agree, but I also just think that in general, the 70s, like, there are a lot of movies that don't look as great, but...
Fair. But
Serpico looks nice.
Yeah, the 70s is when cinema was, if you ask me, maybe the 60s, but the 70s is when it was, like, really starting to get its shit together.
Yeah. Star Wars.
How soon? Birth of the box office. Well, not exactly, but...
Yeah.
That's a story for another
Birth of the box office came with Birth of a Nation. Unfortunately, I'm not even, like, completely wrong.
I know. That's where I was getting at when I left that open statement out there. But, I like this movie. I like another thing that kind of comes back from what we were talking about last week is like, I feel like we follow like a main character and they've got that problematic side to him too. Like Serpico is not like portrayed to be a person or a perfect person.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick to a lot of his partners.
And kind of to a lot of the women he dates.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's what I meant his romantic partners.
Oh,
like, his regular partners, I don't give a shit, they're bad cops. Like,
yeah.
But no, the women he dates, he's like, it's not as bad early on, but as he, like, starts to unravel, he just starts taking out on the women. Like, he's never, like, physically abusive, but he's just, like, yelling. Yeah. He's like, I'm Al Pacino!
There's that one scene where his girlfriend breaks up with him, and she's like, meet me at this, like, public diner.
And she's like, I wanted to meet here because I didn't think you'd scream in public. And he's like, I'll yell wherever I want to yell.
He yells real quick. I'll yell wherever. All right, I won't yell here.
Okay, I'm leaving then.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
But yeah,
it's like I feel like if you were watching this in the 70s, it'd be really disheartening. And, like, it is now, but, you know, we know the cops bad. We know.
Oh, yeah.
But, like...
It's a little more public knowledge.
I could see this being, like, groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how many fucking, probably, like, white people went and saw this movie in the 70s. And were like, what? I've never seen cops. What? A cop movie like this. I don't know. I don't know how like active police corruption like as a genre spans. I'm sure it probably existed before this.
Probably, but this was like a big movie.
Yeah,
this did really well too.
But yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to say on this one.
Yeah, in general, I don't feel like I have a lot to say about any of them really, other than like. Basic, because their storylines are like there's a lot of intricate like character moments in it, but like the storyline themselves is pretty basic.
Yeah, pretty simple.
This movie could be boiled down to just Serpico tries stop corruption, and like that's just what happens for 2 hours, and he just keeps getting thrown back in.
Yeah,
the one time I get out, they throw me back in.
But Serpico. Yeah, I like this one.
Sure.
So did you.
I did.
You give it a 9.
I would. I think. Let me check my notes.
Okay.
Did you make a ranking, by the way?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, I have like a rough idea of my own personal ranking. I could whip one up for you real quick.
Oh yeah, I gotta make one for you real quick. Hold on.
Just let me read it.
Okay. You would give this one an 8. 9? Mm-hmm. Whoa! You love cops!
I don't love cops.
I'm just kidding. Wow, okay. So next one is
Dog Day Afternoon.
Dog Day Afternoon. This was the second one I watched, I believe. I think I watched Network first.
Okay.
I have a very fun fact to tell you about Network once we get onto that one.
Okay.
Something that you might find shocking. But anyway, Dog Day Afternoon, very simple premise.
3 guys walk into a bank.
One immediately leaves. They try to rob it.
They do not succeed. They sit in the bank for a while, they almost get away, and then one of them dies, and the other one goes to prison for like 15 years.
Yeah. One of them, they probably went home.
Yeah,
I guess nothing happened to him.
Yeah, I want to know. There should be a movie about that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He goes home, he watches TV.
I almost thought he was like, because they introduced that plot line about like the creep Colin. I was like, oh, I wonder if that's like that guy or something. Probably not, because he didn't even have the guts to stay. But, yeah, I like this movie. This is one that I had known a little bit about going into it because they talk about it in the first season of Mindhunter.
Oh, they do. I knew this. I knew this because of like the LGBT community.
Yeah.
This guy's kind of JoJo is kind of a big deal. He's like, whoa, he's a dick, but he doesn't actually. I don't think he's a dick. I just think he needs medication. That's.
Are you talking about Sonny?
Yeah. What did I say?
You said JoJo. I was like, what? Yeah, I was more, I was less kind of like intrigued by his character as much as I was,
Oh, that's his real name is John. He just goes by Sonny. That's I think I was like JoJo.
I was more impressed by I'm blanking on the actor's name. Jerry Dandridge.
Is he the one that plays?
He plays his wife.
Oh, Chris Sarandon.
Chris Sarandon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was him in this movie until I started watching it. And the second they were like, "That's his wife," and I like paused it. I'm like,
"Oh, Fright Night."
I'm like, "Oh,
it's Fright Night." He's really good in this movie.
He's good. Like normally, I'd be like, I'm kind of upset that they didn't get like an actual like trans actor for the role.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he does a very respectable job.
And I think there are extenuating circumstances for certain things. Like, I think it's a little, it's a little suspicious to get like more female presenting like trans woman to play someone that is supposed to be like op and like before anything. Like, I think it's okay to have like a cisgender man play that, I guess. Also, it's the 70s. You can't be, not saying. Obviously, I would prefer that, but they did pretty good. It's pretty impressive. They put that in the movie. Like, a lesser director and writer just would have skipped that over. Like the fact that the main character was like openly bi? I'm not sure. Like, they don't really, like, he has a wife, but then he has a boyfriend, and then he has his other wife. Well, at a point, he had a boyfriend.
Oh, well, yeah.
Before his wife came out, I guess.
Yeah.
And he had tons of gifts. Like, it's just something that you wouldn't expect to see in a 70s.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it hopefully didn't, but I just hope this movie didn't carry some sort of, like, negative perception, because, like, obviously, they're the bank robber in the movie. And obviously, they portray Sonny, at the very least, to be kind of like pretty likable, pretty down to earth.
He's talking, he's friends with everyone.
He's very charismatic.
Like his buddy is a psychopath.
His buddy is a psychopath, but I honestly,
but it's looking at it, have to feel bad for him.
Looking at it in hindsight, I don't know if he was necessarily as psychopathic as he would have liked us, the audience.
He wants you to think he's a psychopath more than
I think that there are little subtle hints that he was actually probably not going to kill those people. He might have.
Like he said, he's like, I'm ready, but his hands are shaking, he's sweating. Like,
he's nervous to go on a plane. He's very insecure about being called a homosexual.
And that guy, John Cazale, I'm really interested in him because he was only in 5 movies. But all 5 of those won Best Picture or were nominated for Best Picture. Like, his story's like really, like, he's in he's in The Conversation with Gene Hackman. I think he's in Deer Hunter, and then he's in The Godfather 1 and 2.
I was gonna say, I thought I recognized him from that.
He plays Fredo, I think. Nope. I haven't seen it, but
I'm not that familiar with it.
I'll watch it eventually. I promise, guys. I'm just too busy watching Scooby-Doo movies.
He won't get around to it until Scooby-Doo does the Godfather parody.
Well, I was like, I gotta call my brother.
Yeah.
Just the original idea was like we were gonna smoke cigars for his bachelor party and fucking watch The Godfather while playing poker or some shit. But I just want to watch it because I really like Coppola as a director too.
As a director, not as a person.
Is Francis Ford Coppola an asshole?
It is to my understanding that he is very close with, I think, Frank Silva, the director of like Jeepers Creepers, and kind of got him through a lot of those. To my understanding, he's kind of the one who cleaned up the mess of that clown movie he made that is kind of the source of a lot of the controversy.
I don't want to watch The Godfather anymore. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I mean, you'll have one day.
Yeah,
probably.
But now I don't have a hankering. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I know. I found that out pretty recently, and I was like, "Oh God, can there be one director who's not shitty?" And we found him.
Just watch, literally. Like most of the directors we've watched for their director deep dives
are usually
besides
pretty,
like Uwe Boll.
Yeah, aside from Uwe Boll, I think they've all been pretty decent people at the very least.
Especially like Agnes Varda is a gem.
Agnes Varda.
So was like Kurosawa.
Steve McQueen, probably.
Steve McQueen seems like a genuinely nice dude who just kind of wants. Li Chang-dong is a nice. I don't. And I feel like Bergman was probably nice. He might have been like, he seems like he might have been eccentric in times and
probably, but he seems like overall.
Is that everyone we've done?
No, we done Mamoru Oshii. We did.
We did Oshii. Oshii seems like a nice guy.
I'm sure he's probably pretty cool.
I feel like most anime directors that I've seen, like for movies, they seem like they're either really rude to their workers or pretty chill dudes, and there's no in between.
Yeah. I think we've done more than that, but I don't know.
We have had the podcast for a long ass time.
We've only been doing the deep dives for like half that time now.
That's not true.
Oh, is it not?
I feel like Ingmar Bergman, that was the first one, right?
Yeah.
That was episode 19, so it was pretty early.
Oh, okay.
Kurosawa, Li Chang-dong, Varda, Steve McQueen, Oshii. Oh, PTA.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That was our 5-hour fucking episode.
Yeah, this is the one that made us consider free
Paul Thomas Anderson's a really nice guy. He's always like, don't be mean to other people.
Don't say you hate a movie.
Spike Lee, he's pretty funny, but he seems like a nice guy. And then Kelly Reichardt, I feel like Kelly Reichardt will not be mean to anyone.
Probably not. David Lynch, and he's
David Lynch. David Lynch seems like
eccentric.
He's nice to his actors, but he's just like,
he has his edges, but overall, it seems like the majority of people who work with him like him.
I think that's just in my mind, like, I just don't want to watch a lot of things by a mean guy. Like, I'm fine watching one or two. Like, I was okay watching the Bryan Singer movie because it was part of the Superman series. But I wasn't going to just be like, yeah, we should watch all the Bryan Singer movies.
Hey, next direct deep dive is going to be fucking Brian De Palma. Not really.
What's wrong with Brian De Palma?
Oh, not Brian De Palma.
Oh, I'm like, don't break my heart.
What's the director that I'm trying to think of? Who's the one who did fucking Chinatown and fucking
Rosemary's Baby?
Rosemary's Baby. I'm blanking on his name.
What is...
I did... I can't believe I got him mixed up with fucking Brian De Palma.
Polanski.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah. I was like, I don't doubt that Brian De Palma might be a dick at times. Like, I don't doubt that.
Yeah,
but I was like, what did he do?
Yeah.
Because I do want to watch more Brian De Palma.
Yeah, Brian De Palma's got some good stuff. Scarface is Brian De Palma.
Yeah. He did Carlito's Way with Al Pacino.
Did one of our favorite movies here, Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah.
Check it out.
What were we talking about?
You're talking about just how
Dog
nice
Day Afternoon, yeah.
of a guy Sidney Lumet is.
Sidney Lumet.
Dog Day Afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, that's...
Yeah, like, it's pretty simple.
But...
Yeah.
I really like the look of this movie, too. There are a couple scenes. There's a scene, I really like the scene where he takes all the money and he starts throwing it to people, but as soon as it cuts, it's very obvious that he did not make the shot for the money because the money would have just flown back in his face, and then it cuts the crowd, and it's obvious that the money is coming from right on top of them, and it happens like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was pretty funny, but, like, other than that, I thought the movie looked really nice. I really like the soundtrack to this movie.
Yeah,
it's really groovy. I really like the soundtrack. Starting from here, and it's this one and like Before the Devil Knows You're Dead that I like the soundtracks to quite a bit. Why are you making that face?
It's just my face.
Yeah, but it was pretty fucking groovy.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
No, good movie.
Yeah. But, yeah, this one I was watching, I'm like, Al Pacino's really good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see more
the Don Pacino.
Yeah. Is that his best role?
Jack and Joe?
Yeah.
You know it.
You fucking know it. Can't wait to have that Adam Sandler deep dive.
Oh,
and we'll flip a coin right at the beginning and be like, is it going to be the good Sandler or the bad Sandler?
If you do that, I'm going to make you watch Killer's Kiss again.
It was like, what the fuck is Killer's Kiss?
Oh, you had to
God.
process it.
I was like, what the fuck is that? I've tried to block that. Actually, no, I just did block that. It wasn't very, like, it was really bad, but then I also just was like, and now I'll forget about it.
It's only like an hour long, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it feels so much longer.
It does.
Even in my memory, 2 years later.
All right, Thomas. You're going to give this movie an 8. A 9?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Holy fuck. Thomas gave 2 movies in a row a 9.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, my Jesus fucking It's my Star Wars speak. Anyway, you would give this movie
a 0. No, I'm just kidding.
a 0, as in a 0, 2 zeros, making an 8 or a 9. I don't know.
I would give it a 9. I don't know what the fuck you were talking.
I was like a 0 and then a 0, making an 8.
An infinite.
Yeah, there we go.
A double 0.
Alright, next is Network. Okay. The thing I don't know if you like this movie yet, but The Thing, I'm telling you, you cannot, this cannot sway your opinion on the movie, okay?
Okay.
Our old boss, this was like his second favorite movie. What's funny about that is that makes no sense.
It doesn't seem like his character.
He literally, I'm like, how do you like this movie? And then they're like, I don't understand how you can like a Lumet movie and then be like conservative. Like it doesn't, where's the disconnect? What's happening here?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't psychoanalyze our previous boss. Well, I could, but I don't know if I'd be very good.
We can probably get him on the podcast now.
I mean, we could. We could. But do we want to? How about we bring him on for the inevitable Birth of a Nation episode, since that's his favorite silent movie, and we can put him in the hot seat and make him try to fucking explain himself out of that one.
So you know how we had that funny idea for episode 100?
The one that we're going with, or the other one?
The one we're going with.
Okay, yeah.
What if on episode 101 we had him on and Sean, and we weren't here?
I wouldn't be mad at that, because I wouldn't be here.
Anyway, so Network, Thomas. What's Network about?
Network is a movie... Oh, God. So basically, there's this, news anchor guy. He's been working for this fictional, news broadcasting station. And he's about to be let go, so he announces live on the air that he plans to kill himself live on the air in a week. And this sends the ratings through the roof. He's fired briefly for a moment before the producers realize, holy shit, we might have a hit on our hands. So they basically they hire him back, and they give him his own time slot where he's basically allowed to just say whatever the fuck he wants. So he's going off the deep end. He's obviously kind of mentally unfit. He needs some help. And the producers are basically just kind of pimping him out for money. And he's got an old friend who works as a producer who's been fired because he wants to kind of help his friend. Meanwhile, this producer has been having a relationship with a young, new producer who is a fan of his. I really wish I knew their names. I am just tossing around a lot of producers. But basically, yeah, so I don't remember. I'm just kind of calling a lot of people producers.
That's fair.
So basically, the friend producer has the relationship with the young new producer who's a fan of him. And the story's kind of split down the middle. It's between him and his and her relationship and his eccentric friend who is being Max, who has the show on TV.
Sorry, Max is the one that you were talking about. The eccentric is Howard Beale.
Howard Beale, that's right. Howard Beale.
The young lady, that's Diana.
Diana, okay. So Max, who is Howard Beale's friend and old producer, has been fired, but he's started a relationship with his replacement, Diana, who is a big fan of him. Hopefully that clears up the jargon I had been spitting out in the last minute. And she's the one who is the, main executive behind the Howard Beale show, which is where he spits off just the random, crazy shit he has to say. And, basically, throughout the course of the movie, what Max was the producer's name, you said?
Yeah.
So Max has left his wife, and he's basically got to come to terms with the decision he's made and try to make up for it, realizing that this relationship isn't going to last with Diana. Meanwhile, Howard Beale basically his plot line is he gets on the air, he says some crazy stuff, and everyone's like, wow, this is cool, but the novelty of it wears off pretty quickly. So then he begins spouting off even crazier shit. Like, he hears the voice of God. And he's like, I've got a message that I want you to pass along. And it's like, why me? Because you're on TV, dummy. You got like 40 to 50,000 pairs of eyes on you every night. So he starts basically spitting off like his own like ideologies and philosophy, but he kind of steps on the toes of the fucking Arabians, because he's like,
he begins the television network gets a lot of their funding from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so he makes a bunch of like statements against them on television, and this gets him called into like the big executive's office, where he's basically like, you fucked with nature. He's like, there is no one company.
This scene, there's like,
it's
like,
a big.
There is no America. There is no democracy. He's like, there is only IBM, Exxon, TLM, whatever.
Yeah, AT&T.
This reminded me of something out of like a David Lynch movie a little bit. Like the way it was standing is like, It reminded me of something out like I would see in like Blue Velvet specifically.
Yeah, or like maybe even like Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he just goes off and he's like, you must face consequences. And he basically just like, he's like, all right, I'm going to start giving you my message that I want you to like pass along. So Howard Beale does this, and he starts doing this, and it starts just tanking his ratings, because everyone's like, oh yeah, this is pretty spot on, but it's also really depressing.
Yeah.
So people just start tuning out.
Well, they can't fire him because that's like the head guy is telling him to do this.
So basically the network is sinking because of it. And
they assassinate him instead.
Yep, and that's how the movie ends.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't quite know how I feel about this one. I'm leaning towards I like it. It was kind of late when I was watching it.
Oh, okay.
So I really want to give this one another rewatch. That way I can have like the solid grasp of how I feel about it. But I'd say overall, I really enjoy this one. I really enjoy like a lot of like it starts to pick up the pace in the second half. The first half is a little bit of a slog. It's a lot that comment I made earlier about just kind of like expressing philosophical views through like just expository scenes. Yeah. That's very much this movie, and it applies to some of his older stuff too. Like I'd say that about like Failsafe, and
I'd say that about 12 Angry Men, but I don't think that's a problem.
Those movies that they're going for that.
Yeah,
and this movie is also kind of going for that, but with a little bit more like style on the surface.
And also the double fact that it's like it's pretty much saying that about itself too. That it's like, this is what we're doing. You're watching television, and we're telling you things.
Yeah, it's a very like almost surreal meta narrative. There's lots of lines between Max and Diana where like they'll acknowledge it's like, oh, this is like one of your scripts.
Yeah. That's why, like some that's mostly what I meant when I was talking about Lynch. Like it seems like something out of a Lynch movie at times. Obviously, Lynch isn't the only person that's done this. But. I think that I really enjoyed this movie as well. I do think that I like the scenes with Howard Beale more than I do with Max and Diana.
I wholeheartedly agree.
And
Max Beale is the selling point of Howard Beale is the selling point, not only the show and the universe, but the movie. And I do agree that I think the first half isn't like a slog, but it's not as tight as the second half, in my opinion. But I really liked it. I thought all the performances were really good. I really liked the central thesis of this movie. It might be a little hammered on. I feel like this would be a good double feature with Bamboozled.
They go for the same thing.
See, I thought... I had a similar mindset when I was watching Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Because, you know, the whole jumped digital age, and we'll talk about that next, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, Network's good though. It's not my favorite. Yes, but I really enjoyed it overall.
Yeah,
I would like to give it another rewatch. I think I would like to rewatch all of these movies pretty much.
I am almost in the same boat.
Okay. Well, you're going to give this one a 7.
Yeah.
I know I'm a genius.
You're also going to give this one a 7, maybe an 8.
An
8. Okay.
Okay, so Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Okay, Thomas, why don't you like this movie?
Okay.
Is it the editing?
I think it's a lot of things. I think it pales in comparison to his other movies in general from a writing standpoint. I think his other movies, I don't know, like, this one just felt like it was taking elements from some of his other movies and kind of blending them together, but in a much less effective way. And I get that they were going for that kind of like narrative style where it's like it's out of order. They give you bits of information and build upon it to kind of change your perspective as the movie goes along. Like, obviously, we get introduced to like this bank robbery, and we see one of the guys who is Ethan Hawke, and he's like, "Oh fuck, it got fucked up," you know. And we see this bank robbery go down, and then you get some added context later when you find out. Spoiler: they were robbing his parents' store, and his mother was killed inside. And there's aspects like that I appreciate about it, and obviously I was very excited going into it because Philip Seymour Hoffman, Ethan Hawke, like, oh, of course, Aunt May.
Both Aunt Mays. I don't know if you noticed, but the mom was played by Rosemary Harris.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, so it was Marissa Tomei and Rosemary Harris. They weren't in any scenes together.
Yeah.
But there were 2 Aunt Mays in this movie.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that's why I like this movie.
Yeah, maybe.
So you weren't a fan of the non-linear storytelling, or you just didn't think it worked very well, or?
I think it worked fine. I just thought it was a little too simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it added more weight than this very basic bitch plotline would have had otherwise. But, I mean, between that aspect of it, honestly, like, I thought Ethan Hawke and Philip Seymour Hoffman both did fine in it, but I wouldn't say it was like a standout performance for either of them.
I thought, at least Ethan Hawke, I really liked Ethan Hawke in this.
Yeah, I think I liked Ethan Hawke a little more. Philip Seymour Hoffman had this little bit of a dialect going on that didn't quite convince me.
I can get that.
But yeah, the editing, I wasn't a big fan of like the stop, freeze frame, flash transitions.
I kind of liked that. It grew on me at the very least, but I think just the basic editing of it wasn't very good. I think it was just, there were like scenes where it cut and then characters were in different positions. Like it just did a like very simple just cut from one shot to the next, like characters were in different positions. Like that was my main issue. I kind of, the first time it did the freeze frame and then to the flashback, I was like, it was jarring, but it was like fun enough for me. It kind of grew on me. I kind of enjoyed it.
And then, there's one more aspect I really wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, just obviously the way the film was shot. While I think he made the jump to digital better than a lot of other directors did, I still think too much of the film looked a little too overly lit, or like the white balance was off. Typical problems for that era.
I think mostly it's scenes that are outdoors. Like the scenes surrounding the bank robbery, like in the car, those don't look good.
Yeah.
But like most of the scenes indoors I thought looked fine, at least for me.
They did for the most part. There was a couple points where I noticed, like, the camera angle was, like, a little tilted, it looked like. Or I'm not sure what they were doing for, like, a steady cam. Or what they were, like, putting the camera on. And also the soundtrack to this movie, I realized you commented earlier that you liked the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack, at least the bits of it that stuck out enough for me to notice, I thought were kind of really out of place. Like, there's one scene in particular where I think he's, like, walking down the block or something, and this really loud, dramatic music is playing, and it sounds like royalty free, and it just reminds me of a lot of like low budget movies.
The soundtrack by this is by Carter Burrell.
I mean, maybe it was just the tone for that one scene. Maybe, that was the vibe I got.
Oh, I don't know. I really like the score.
I felt like I was watching one of those like straight to DVD like bargain bin movies that I pop in from like Full Moon or something, and it's just like.
What are you trying to say about Richard Mann there?
I don't know. He hasn't emailed me back, so...
Fuck him! No,
Oh, God damn it! No, not really. Because he might be watching.
He might
be scouting out our channel to see how much we shit talk.
So he's an hour and a half into a random podcast.
Well, he's like, I gotta check it out. Then he got sucked in.
Yeah, he's like, I love Sidney Lumet.
Yeah,
he's just like my brother. They're about... with each other. Okay, so we disagree on the soundtrack. That's okay though.
Yeah.
I think that there is one piece of composition early on in the movie that I felt similar to. Like, it didn't feel
the piece I'm talking about was early on.
Okay.
Movie, so.
It didn't feel like royalty free for me, but it just didn't feel like it matched the tone of the movie or like the scene. So I can agree with you on that at the very least. But otherwise, I really like the soundtrack. But I really like this movie. Maybe the writing's not like amazing, but I really like movies about dysfunctional families and fucked up families. And I like movies that the fucked up familyness just gets worse and worse as it goes. So I enjoyed that. And I realized that I forgot to mention, I really like Albert Finney in this movie. I thought he's
the dad, right?
Yeah, I thought he was like a standout. I thought it was like Ethan Hawke and then him. Marissa Tomei is pretty good in this too. Marissa Tomei's 43 in this movie. She's 56 now, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with her. But yeah, Thomas does not like movies that have women in them.
I will say, the one scene fucked me up in this movie because they show some like pretty in-depth shots of Philip Seymour Hoffman doing heroin. And I'm not gonna lie, that broke me. I was
like, Jesus, that's sad.
And this is like made just. I guess it was. It was a handful
7
of
years before he died. Yeah, but like close enough.
Yeah,
he probably just goes like, guys, we could just do it.
And Sidney Lumet's like, no,
please, no.
What was I gonna say? But eventually, at the end of the movie, the dad finds out, he kills the older brother, and Ethan Hawke just kind of runs away. Because Ethan Hawke was like, he wasn't not guilty in this, but it's obvious that he was pressured by his brother to do this. And he was this... Anyway, Thomas doesn't like good movies. That's what we've established here today.
Yeah, I hated all of them.
All of them, they suck.
Sidney Lumet is a dead snowflake hack.
I'm gonna resurrect Sidney Lumet to call him a snowflake.
I'll call him a libcuck simp. Straight to his face.
What the fuck is this?
He's like, I don't know what any of that means. I've been dead for the last 10 years.
I was gonna say something. I do think the scenes that have Mr. Hoffman doing the drugs are pretty well shot. Like,
yeah,
and maybe it's the lighting in those rooms that are just like really good for that. And I think the scenes in just any of the scenes in the houses looked good to me at the very least. And then anything outside, I'm like, nope. But yeah, I really like this movie. But it's okay if you don't, Thomas. I'll forgive you just this once.
Okay. I wanted to. I desperately wanted to.
That's why, because how much you wanted to, I think you're going to give this a 5. Maybe a 4. Is it a 3? What the fuck? Okay, wow. Wow, okay.
Just didn't.
Was this your last movie you watched?
Yeah.
Is there a chance that you were just movied out after watching 5 movies in a row?
Maybe.
Is there a chance you were actually playing on your Nintendo Switch instead of watching a movie?
No.
Okay.
You would give this one like a 7 or an 8.
I also gave this one an 8. I really liked everything we watched today. And you really liked 3 of them.
I mean, I thought aside from the last one, I thought they were all pretty, at least decent.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, here's what I thought your list was going to look like. I think I nailed it. Maybe the top 2 changed, though. But I put Serpico, Dog Day, Network, Failsafe, Before the Devil.
Yeah, the top 2
Dog Day's top?
Mm-hmm. For you, I put... No, I don't have my notepad open. Hold on. Put Dog Day at the top. Oh, no, I didn't. I put Serpico at the top. Serpico.
Hey, Baco.
So I put that at the top. Dog Day 2, Failsafe 3, Network 4, Devil 5.
So I put Dog Day at the top as well.
Okay.
Then I put Failsafe. Then I put Serpico. But I would say that those 2 are almost interchangeable for me. And then I put Before the Devil. And then I put Network.
There we go.
But yeah. We have finished another exciting episode of Screen Weens Director Deep Dive.
Yeah.
So, next week, we were going to continue DC, but Thomas says, and I quote, "Fuck that superhero bullshit."
Close enough.
So, we are just going to continue on. Do we have some dice? We gotta check if we get a bag.
Yeah, we gotta at least run the risk.
We don't have dice in here. I'll be right back.
Okay. If not, I got something in mind.
Okay.
Something good. Something less good, but probably still pretty good. I don't know. I haven't watched since I was a kid. I guess maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. Probably won't with my luck. Probably gonna roll these dice. Have to watch Family Guy.
What?
Except with my luck, we'll probably roll these dice and have to watch Family Guy.
So 2, 3, or 4, right?
Sure.
Is that what it was? Hang on. What are you rolling?
10.
Oh, god damn it, I wanted it back. One day. You're just too good at rolling. Alright, what are we watching, Thomas? Something bad?
I don't know. Do you want it to be something bad or you want it to be something good?
What would you prefer?
You go with the good one.
You didn't go with the good one? I was going to pick bad, so okay, good.
You want to watch King Kong and King Kong? 76 and 2006 here. I think
you don't want to watch 76 and the sequel to 76?
King Kong Lives?
Yeah.
I don't think I have that. I had it on DVD when I was a kid. I know I bought the 70s remake on DVD when, just recently, within, the last year. And I don't remember if I bought King Kong Lives, but I know that one's, super out of print and hard to find. But, I mean, I'm not opposed to watching...
That's okay. We can do 76 and 2005? Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
So, it's like one of my favorite movies.
Just gotta figure out a time I can watch a 3-hour fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yo, then we will have covered, like, so many of the King Kong movies.
We've covered
3 of them, yeah. So many. I mean, that's
a
large chunk of, like, the main Kong movies. Because what's the other one? King Kong Lives, and then there's Kong Skull Island, right?
Well, okay, so you gotta look at it like this. There's the original...
Oh, there's King Kong Escapes.
Well, there's the original timeline, which is...
There's Mighty Joe Young, there's Son of Kong. I'm missing so many.
Yeah, Son of Kong, Mighty Joe Young, King Kong Escapes, Godzilla vs. Kong, the original, not the new one that's coming out. You gotta count Kong Skull Island, the new one, and then there's, like, King Kong Lives. There's, like, a fucking cartoon that was, like, King Kong. Like, it's just, like, 45 minutes. Then there's, like, remakes. There's, like, Queen Kong. There's The Mighty Peking Man. There's all sorts of...
More like The Mighty Peeing Man.
But yeah, I figured might as well just keep it basic. We'll watch these two, and then we'll probably watch the Godzilla Legendary Converse,
those 3
around the time that it comes out.
And then we'll watch King Kong vs. Godzilla, both of them, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we could.
I was thinking what we do is, because we're doing Justice League and the Snyder Cut, and then we'll do Godzilla, King of Monsters, Kong Skull Island, and then the next episode, Godzilla vs. Kong.
I'd be down.
But we'll see. Maybe we'll just only get bag episodes from now on.
Maybe.
And if you send us $100 right now, Thomas will cut off his arm.
No.
Who do you think's going to win?
Who do I think's going to win? Oh, I don't think either of them are going to win.
King Kong.
I mean...
He can hold a gun.
If you're thinking about it, like, in reality, I don't know. It's hard to say because every different incarnation of Kong and Godzilla follows, like, they're different. They're different. There is no one set. Like, fucking King Kong's, like, not even, like, 25 feet tall, I don't think. And then, like, the original Godzilla is, like, 50, 400 according to the English dub. So it's like, he's much bigger. He fights monsters on a more regular basis. Probably, maybe, debatable. I guess Kong lives on Skull Island. But this version of Kong has been, like, beefed up to his size. He's got opposable thumbs.
Classic.
But, like, yeah, I'd probably say realistically, I'd usually lean towards Godzilla. But looking from, like, a marketing standpoint, they probably... It's not a safe bet when you declare a victor between two Titan franchises.
Yeah, it's like Batman versus Superman.
It's like, they're gonna fight...
And then Doomsday's gonna show up.
...over some misunderstanding in the movie. Which has already been spoiled by the fucking trailer. And then they're going to, probably... Yeah, so they'll probably, like, have one fake meetup, one misunderstood meetup, and then they'll probably maybe, like, team up to, like, unite against some bigger monster that they gotta, like, fight, some common enemy. Or maybe that'll happen, and then afterwards they'll be like, alright, now I just want to see who would win. But probably not.
But anyway, yeah, so we're watching King Kong and King Kong next week. And until next time...
Tell your grandma.
Tell your grandma that she's a whore. Tell your grandma to subscribe for more.
There we go. Perfect.
Goodbye.
Adios.